Hello, I am Nicholas Cipriani. Today I'm going to show you Shiftys Dirty Racing, brought to you by Team Joystick Heroes. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to separate the action and movement decks. After that, each player is going to roll the dice to determine turn order. After you've determined your turn order, by the highest roll, it goes in clockwise order after that. Everyone gets to pick their card at that point. I'm going to take the black one. And then you move into the tile pile. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove the start and finish cards from the tile pile. They look like so. You're going to put them to the side and you are going to shuffle the tile pile. After it's been properly shuffled, it is handed to player 2. Player 1 will place the start tile wherever they please and then put their car on it. Every other player will put their car in the order that they are clockwise. After that, player 2 will flip the top card from the tile pile and place it where they please, and then they will pass to player 3 or 4, how many you have, so on until it completes the entire cycle. I'm gonna go through this really quickly and just make a little track. Complete a track here, and then we will cut to the finished version of it when we're ready. Okay, so after the board has been set up, it might look something like this. Every board should look differently when you're done completing it. The last thing you do, every player does, is draw movement cards. You draw 3 at the beginning of turn. There are 3 different types of movement cards, 3 different colors, and there are 2 different types. So we have the red ones, which are move 1s, we have the yellow ones, which are move 2, and then we have greens, which are the big ones, which are move 3. The other type of card we have are turn-only tiles, or turn-only cards. Turn-only cards work on work on turns, and then they also work on intersections. That's about it in terms of the movement cards. You can play them on your dice roll. You can't play them after your dice roll. You have to play them on the dice roll. Now we're going to explain some of the actions that are in the game. There is a set of 8 different action cards. Each one of them do a different thing. I will present them to you as I go through them. So the first one we'll talk about is Oil Slick. Like I stated before, it is a card that is placed behind a vehicle, and it has effects when you drive over it. So for instance, we're going to hypothetically play with the red card, and that card moves to 3. 1, 2, 3. That player would have to look at their hand, and they'd have to discard a card. Now it can either be an action card or a movement card. Let's see here, I can look through my hand and I can go, I want to discard this one, and that's the effect of an oil slick. There is also speed boosts. Speed boost is played. You can play upwards of 4 big tiles from your car, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to place it here. And when a car moves over that, so when a car moves over it, either lands on it or goes over it, they get to draw a card from the movement deck. And that goes to their hand. And then the final placed tile that we have is the road spike. Road spike is also placed directly behind the car, like an oil slick. It's placed right behind the car though, so there's no variation. You can't put it to the side or anything like that. And if another, that guy up there, if another player car moves over the road spike in any way, they lose a turn. Now there are ways to get around this. We have mechanics that kind of help players that are smart with saving the cards that they have in their hand. The next one is a shield. So it negates the effect of any one action that would affect a player. So that includes the tokens as well. So that would negate the oil slicks. You wouldn't have to discard a card. Instead you could use this. It would negate the road spikes. So instead you wouldn't lose a turn. It would also negate sabotage. You can only play it if you are not in first place, and that first place person loses the turn, but if the first place person has a shield, they can negate it. Another mechanic that works like that is Rocket Boost, which puts any player in the track, as long as they have this card, in first place, but it's played before your roll, and it takes your entire turn. Beyond that, we have two kind of quality of life cards that kind of affect the field. Normally, if you have a scenario where you are blocked like this, and you are, say, the red car right here, and you want to get by them, say, for instance, you roll and you get a 3, but your movement is higher than the allowance, you can't move through squares. So what you can do is you can move 1 of your 3, you can play, upside down. You can play a spring tire, and that will jump you directly over the car in front of you, and then you still have 2 movements left. So 1, 2. Spring tire must be used directly behind a car, and it counts for the 1 space that it moves. Finally, we have move this guy up 1 more space so I can show. We have another cool little mechanic called the claw, which you can shoot at a target car which is up to 4 spaces ahead of you. So for instance, you can see the blue car is 4 spaces behind the red one, and this car will move the distance in between them. You can play that, after your movement or whatever. So for instance, hypothetically, say I was back here, I rolled 3, I moved up here, and then I could claw my way around this corner. Any effects that you acquire, for instance, the star effects that you move through, you get any effects like wheel slicks or road spikes that you claw through also affect you, speed boost, so on and so forth. Okay, we are going to talk about a player's turn and what they can do on their turn. So a player normally at this point has movement cards in their hand. You are going to roll the dice at the start of your turn. And you have the option of when you roll the dice to play a movement card, or you can play an action card if you have one. Right now I don't have one, I want to move 2 spaces. I'm going to go over a star and draw an action card so I don't feel the need to play a movement card. So I'm going to move 2 spaces, I'm going to draw an action card, and I still have an allotted action. Like I said before, actions are either a movement card or an action card. I'm going to play my action, and that'll be putting an oil slick down. So you just read what the card said. It says place 2 connecting oil slick tiles, 1 directly behind the car, and then 1 connecting to it. And then that would be the end of a player's turn, and you would go to the next player. So there's a couple of little rules, just to make sure, clarification, stuff like that might be a little confusing. One of them is whenever you place a token, such as this oil slick token, say there are 2 here, and say I'm this green card, and say I want to play another oil slick token, I actually can't at this particular spot, because you cannot play any token on top of another token. The other rule is cars can't be placed on top of other cars. That also means that cars can't go through cars. Basically, it just means that if a car is in front of you, it blocks your way. And that really comes into play with the final little rule is if you roll movement, whatever your movement is, you have to move upwards to your maximum. So for instance, if I was here as the orange car and I was blocked like this, and say I rolled this 3, I'd have to move as far as I physically can forward, which would put me in the oil slick, which means that I have to discard. You can't do any kind of finagly, cheesy mechanics like going sideways or back and forth. You can't move backwards. It's very much trying to encompass the idea of racing and going forward and trying to get to the end. That's about it.